Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is Brevort and today I'm going to be showing off some ideas for how minecarts can be improved, and all of these I feel are pretty vanilla type of they're pretty vanilla type of ideas. Like they're kind of like this. So this might be something you didn't know. In fact, I didn't know it until today. It was actually part of my one of my ideas. Turns out it's already a thing. If a minecart is going over wool, it won't activate stalk sensors. So I think that's a really cool thing that it is activating it when it goes over the sandstone block here. But if we replace this with that, it will no longer activate the sculk sensors at all. And I even put one higher up so that you know it's not the wool occlusion that's causing it. So first things first, I think that a really important thing would be to fix furnace mine carts. So right now, they work for pushing carts. They will go at a constant rate of, I believe it's 4 blocks per second. But the problem is, if you try to use them, so this is something you may not actually know, you can use them as a train and you can actually link the furnace minecart together with regular minecarts. So let's go ahead and get a furnace minecart and a regular minecart. So I think you have to do it like this. So this will create a train and it'll actually stick them together. So notice here the way this is working is the furnace minecart will, let's create a little loop here. The furnace minecart will push it faster than it actually is than the furnace minecart actually is moving, and then it will lose its momentum, and then it'll wait until the furnace minecart catches up. However, you could do this, which is glitched out for some reason. Not sure why that happened. But yeah, the trains are very buggy. So you should be able to link them together, but it's very glitchy and you can only have a total of 4 minecarts together. I think that includes the furnace minecart. So it is possible, but if you go around a turn with them, it'll break them. It doesn't even seem like they're working at all in this snapshot, but whatever. So yeah, I'd love to see 1.21 be the minecart update where they change minecarts fundamentally and improve them. So I got a lot of ideas though. So let's move on to the next one. So the next one is 4-way junctions. So if you don't know, if you have a 3-way junction, you can actually change the direction that your minecart that the junction actually connects with a redstone signal. So that's pretty cool, and you can do it from underneath as well. So that's a vanilla feature, and it's very cool, and I'm very glad to see you can see it flips back and forth. However, it is quite buggy, and I don't know why this is still a thing, but if you update it with a torch, it just doesn't work. If you do it with a redstone block, it doesn't work. You have to do it with a direct signal. I don't know why. I'm not sure. I think if you do it with a torch from underneath, it will still work. So let's see if that's the case. Yeah, it works with the torch underneath. So that's really weird to begin with. However, if you have a 4-way track, there's no way to change the direction at all. So I was thinking, what if we could have some kind of block underneath this that you put like right here, and then depending on the signal strength of the redstone, it would change the direction of the, so yeah, let's actually look. If we go ahead and put a torch here, it doesn't change the junction at all. So the junction will never change if it's a 4-way track. So I think it'd be really cool to be able to have, so one redstone signal would make it like straight across in like the X in the, like the X direction, like this, and then one would make it straight across in the Z direction, and then one would make it curve this way, and one would make it curve this way. So there'd be 6 different possibilities that you could have. Actually, why not make it one this way, one this way, one this way, and one this way? So that'd be what? 4 plus 2, so is that what I said, 6 directions? Now I'm not sure. But yeah, why can't we have the mine carts? Why can't we have junctions that go all 4 directions instead of having to? Oh, interesting. So if you place it while it's powered, it'll actually go the opposite way, but you have to break and place it again, which is really stupid. So like it's partially implemented already, but it doesn't really work. So moving on, we have wool minecarts that go over wool tracks shouldn't activate skull sensors, which turns out actually already is a thing. So I didn't know that. Next up is something that's actually in the game, but you can't use it at all. So these are minecarts with droppers and dispensers. So they've been in the game since 1.5, but they don't work. So they don't do anything, and they actually act just like another type of minecart. They just are storage minecarts. So they've added this functionality, but it has no use whatsoever. And I don't know why this is the case. So that's something that I'd love to see have the functionality added. Maybe it would always dispense either maybe you could choose which way the dispenser is going based on the direction you placed it. So say, can I can't control middle click these sadly. But say if I place it like on a track going this way, the dispenser would dispense this way, and if you push it this way, it might give it a little bit of a speed boost, especially if maybe it shoots out a firework rocket, then you get like a big speed boost. But if I place it going this way, it turns out they actually face the same direction no matter what, but if I place it going this way, it'll go the opposite way, and maybe it'll slow it down if it shoots out a firework. I think that would be a really cool feature. Or you could really dispense anything out of it or drop anything. Maybe if it's a dispenser, the speed that it dispenses is lower, or the speed that the speed boost should be higher if it's a dispenser and lower if it's a dropper. Next up, we have rideable minecarts with bells. So why are bell minecarts not a thing? This would be really cool. And when they go over a powered activator rail, they should make a clang sound, like the normal bell clang sound. And that would be really cool. And you totally can do this. But what if it was certain minecarts that could do it? I think that would be really cool to have. You could easily do it with just a regular rideable minecart. This bell render isn't quite rendering right, but what if we could do that? That would be really cool to have a certain type of minecart that, and maybe instead of doing that, it would like spam the bell. So while it's on an activator rail, it would go like, if it's, I don't know. I don't know. Either way would be really cool. So another thing, I mentioned the furnace minecart trains earlier. What if we had the minecarts that you could connect together with chains? Now, this is actually my idea. I've seen it 2 other times, and one of them was a geology Minecraft YouTube channel called, I believe it's Nice Name, but it's not spelled like nice, it's spelled like, I'm not sure. I'll link it in the video description. The other one, I can't even remember where I saw it, but 2 different places I've seen this. I actually do recommend checking out their video about how rails can be improved in Minecraft. So, and how minecarts in general can be improved, because a lot of that I think would help with this. So what if we could hook up furnace minecarts, and then storage minecarts, and then hopper minecarts, and a regular minecart, and you could hook up as many, maybe up to like 12, or maybe, why do we even need a limit? Maybe it'd be obnoxious if we didn't have a limit, but, and they wouldn't have to be a full block apart. Maybe we could just put like a rail, and we could right click it like this, with a chain, and you wouldn't get in it. It would just like kind of do this, like this little animation here. If you shift click it, or, oh, you shouldn't even have to shift click it. And then you right click on another one with the chain, and it would connect them just like a lead. And it would use the chain, and then you could break it by clicking in between them. And there'd be maybe there'd be a gap. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure how it would work exactly, but yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. So another thing is, I believe it was in 1.19, the change is made so that when you are in survival mode and you break a minecart with chest, you get the chest back. And this isn't just because I have silk touch on this tool. If I break it by hand, or you don't get the chest back, you just get the minecart with chest straight up. So what if instead you had to use a silk touch tool in order to do that? And any environmental damage should probably also cause that. But what if we actually just had a some kind of device that would just pick up minecarts? So what if we had something like this? You put it down, and or maybe some kind of rail you could put down, and when it gets to the end, it would just destroy it and drop the item. And then you could have a hopper pick that up. What if that was a thing? That would be really cool, I think. And maybe this would also have to be powered as well in order to actually have that work. So, oh, I didn't know that. That was going to be something I mentioned. Okay. So yeah, you can actually push rails, but if you try to, well, I guess that's probably because this isn't a sticky piston. So if we use a sticky piston, I'm learning things. Okay. If we use a sticky piston here, will this... Oh, it does! Okay, so that's really cool. I didn't know you could do that. I'm really glad you can. That's very useful. So yeah, what if there was a block or some kind of rail that would, when it's powered, destroy the minecart and drop it as an item? And maybe you could choose too whether it drops a minecart and a chest separately or together. I think it'd be a lot more useful just to have it drop it together. But I feel like if you're breaking it with a tool that doesn't have silk touch or by hand, you should still get these separate pieces because I often want them separate once I have placed them or crafted them. And now I can't go back. Whereas before 1.19, I could do that, and I don't really like that change. So another thing is furnace minecarts should have interactability with hoppers, and I really don't know why they don't. And they should also have interactability with droppers. So if we go ahead and power this dropper here, normally, if we were to have a regular furnace, this would dispense, or even if we have a minecart with chest here, let's do this. We go ahead and place the coal in, and we power this. It's actually going to put the coal into the chest, and just to show that's what happened, it does it again. So yeah, so that's a really cool feature. Why does this not happen with furnace minecarts? I genuinely don't understand why they were just left out of the equation when this is added in 1.5. I don't know. So I really think that droppers should have functionality with, and also hopper minecarts have interactability with, I'm sure you know this, with storage, or hoppers have interactability with storage minecarts. So how come if we were to go ahead and place a furnace minecart here, it doesn't have that interactability? Is it because of the direction? If it is, then maybe we should just have it so droppers give that interactability. So if you're, well, I could kind of see how that might be a problem, but maybe there would be some way to determine the direction. There should be. I'm sure there is. Let me know if you think of what it is. But I definitely think that furnace minecarts should have interactability with droppers and hoppers. And also, why were they removed from Bedrock Edition? They aren't that bad. Like, they actually do have decent uses. Like, this is not useless. Like, this is actually a really cool feature. I mean, yeah, powered rails kind of defeat that purpose, but that's like saying, like, why do we have wooden pickaxes if we have netherite pickaxes, which are better? Like, obviously to get you to that point, right? So, yeah. Another thing that would be really cool to have is a block that detects the speed of a minecart that travels past it. So depending on how quick it's traveling, it should output a signal based on how quickly the minecart is traveling. So let's say that we have it traveling very slowly over it. It would output a signal strength of maybe just 1. But if it was traveling a little bit faster, it would output a signal strength of whatever else until it gets to the max minecart speed, which right now is 8 blocks per second. So that works really perfectly because that could output a signal strength of 15. And then like 7 blocks per second would be 13. 6 blocks per second would be 11, all the way down to 1, right? That would work really perfectly, right? However, okay, this is actually possible. It's not easy to do, but hold on. I'm going to set up a redstone contraption that can detect the speed. Okay, so I think I worked out a way to make a minecart speed detector. It's pretty chaotic. The redstone's pretty crazy. I could have simplified or made this more compact by a lot, but isn't really the goal of this. So yeah, we got a signal strength of 14 here, which is the highest you can get. If we go ahead and take the items out of here and go ahead and do this again, but this time we depower this one and we go ahead and do this. So, and I'm going to hold down my my forward key so that way I'm able to get across. If we go ahead and look, we got a signal strength this time of only 11, or 12 actually. So it actually does function. So yeah, pretty cool. But the whole point of this is why can't we just have a block that just does this? Like, why don't we have a block in the game that simply detects how quickly a minecart is passing by? If a minecart's in front of it and it's not moving at all, it'll output 0. If it's moving by super fast at its top speed, then it output 15, and anywhere in between, it output a different signal based on how fast it's moving. Why don't we have a block that does that? Next up, these are ideas that feel a little bit more modded, but I still think they'd be really cool to have in the game. So right now, minecarts, this is stuff that should maybe be a thing. This first one's kind of crazy. So what if you could make reinforced minecarts? So you put 4 deep slate around a minecart and you get a reinforced minecart. So what the reinforced minecart could do is make it so if it gets hit by an arrow, it wouldn't break. So that would be kind of cool. And then what you could do with that, because I've had trouble in the past where a skeleton just shoots an arrow randomly and it hits my mine. Well, it was actually a boat, but boat with chest, and all the stuff spilled out, and it was no fun at all. So what if we had a way to work around that? And maybe because boats are boats, let's not have reinforced boats because they just sink. But what if we had that, and then we could have a target block minecart. So what you could do with that is you could shoot it with an arrow, and if it's on a detector rail, it would output a signal. So that would be really cool to have. So if it gets hit by a projectile while it's on a detector rail, it would output a signal. Or maybe it would store the signal until it passed over a detector rail, or maybe it would just output any signal to the to the redstone by it. What this could be used for, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure how useful it would be. It might be like minecart with TNT, where no one actually uses it. I rarely see minecart with TNT being used, other than just in creative mode. But also, what if we had a... This is a really weird concept, but what if... But I feel like it does fit Minecraft well. What if we had a redstone ore minecart? So what would this do? Well, you'd be able to right-click on it, and when you do right-click on it, it would give off redstone particles, just like a powered redstone dust would. So it would kind of do this, and give off the particles. And what that would do is it would make it so when it passes over a detector rail, it gives off a signal. Or maybe even without a detector rail, it gives off a signal. But then you could trigger it again, and it would stop giving off a signal. So then what you could also do is if you had a repeater facing into it, you could turn it on and off maybe. So that would be like a way to store information, binary information, in a minecart. I think that would be really useful to have, so you could make like destination selectors. So let's say you have a set of these. You have a bunch of minecart with redstone ore, and you have detector rails and regular rails. And basically, it would detect when, if it went over and triggered the detector rail, but it didn't trigger the regular rail, you would then know that your redstone ore is turned off. But if you triggered both of them, you would know that your redstone ore is turned on. So basically, what that could do is you could have a series of these that you send together with one of these, with these chains that are connecting the minecarts together. And it wouldn't have to be redstone ore. Maybe it could be a redstone block. I don't think that would really make sense because the redstone block is always on. I think the redstone ore would make more sense. I mean, really the lever would make the most sense, but I think that wouldn't be the best because it would be like in the bottom of the minecart and it'd just look weird. But I think redstone ore would be a good candidate for this. Or maybe deep slate redstone ore. So yeah, you could pick destinations though by having a chain of these chained together, and you would be able to have a decoder that would be able to, you could build this all out of redstone. You could have a decoder that would interpret what the order of powered and depowered redstone ore minecarts would be in. And with that, you'd be able to tell it to align the tracks in such a way that you end up at a certain destination. So I think that'd be a really cool concept to have. So maybe if you want to come out to this place, you would have the decoder naturally. That's interesting that that works, but this doesn't. Why is that the case? Oh, it has to have a redstone update. Interesting. So with that, yeah, you could pick the destination that you want to go to. Or maybe even we could have a instruction minecart that has some kind of UI that tells the tracks which way to turn. So basically, what you could do is you could have it so you have these junctions. It might even be one of the four-way junctions that we talked about earlier. And whenever this UI block that you can program to go a certain way, you'd get like a screen that'd come up and you could tell it which ways to turn. So you could have it go straight, you could have it turn left, or you could have it turn right. And whenever it comes across a junction that has that junction as an option, it would turn in that direction. So what if we had a block that did that? I think that'd be really cool to have, or at the very least, a redstone ore minecart, or some kind of minecart that is toggleable that could either output a signal or not when it comes in contact with a rail. I think that'd be super cool to have, and I really don't know why we don't have something like that already. I've downgraded my game to 14W11B to show this off. This is something I think minecarts really need now more than ever, and that is just speed. Why do we have minecarts that are so slow? Check this out. We are in a snapshot from 2014 for 1.8, and they go 20 blocks per second as their maximum speed. And this was reverted because chunks weren't able to keep up with loading. However, in 2015 and 2016, they added the elytra. It was in 2015, one of the snapshots. The 1.9 came out in 2016, I believe. They added the elytra and also boat roads that just go so much faster than minecarts even can go. So we really need to improve minecarts in the way of just making them faster. There's no reason now that they can't go 20 blocks per second. I know I mentioned earlier in the video, like, oh, it kind of works out that they go 8 blocks per second, because you know you could just multiply that by 2 and get the redstone signal, basically. But what if we do this? Now, this is kind of interesting. This is a mechanic that they briefly added. I think if you were to actually make minecarts go this fast, it still would do this. But this is a mechanic they added that I think is actually really cool. And it is that minecarts would derail if you were going too fast. So that is what happened here. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to slow them down with an unpowered powered rail, like this. And that way you'd be able to properly... Oh yeah, you can really tell how fast this is in F5 mode. Just pay attention to how quickly I'm moving in the minecart. You can see I just fly right off the tracks. I think that's so cool. Such a cool mechanic that we're missing out on now. It's just 20 blocks per second. Each of these is 10 blocks, so you can see how quickly I'm moving. It just looks absolutely insane. I really love I really love this mechanic of using the unpowered powered rails. I love everything about it. Another trick you could do, this is something that I don't think should be kept if they ever end up speeding up minecarts, but if you have a track where you have to turn, what you could do, you only have to go in one direction, is you could have the track sharply turn like that with just powered rails, and that would prevent your minecart from going off the tracks if you were going in a positive direction. So this way is south, so that's positive Z, so that is a positive direction. So I really think they should add Some much better functionality to minecarts. They've really gotten left behind. I don't even know why they removed furnace minecarts from Bedrock Edition. Like, if they're gonna do that, they might as well just remove the wooden pickaxe, because, I mean, the netherite pickaxe is basically better in every way. Anyways, guys, I would love to make some of this stuff actually doable in current-day Minecraft using a data pack. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments, as well as any other ideas you have for minecarts. This is the thing that I want the most, is just faster minecarts. If nothing from this video gets implemented, I want minecarts that go 20 blocks per second, and furnace minecarts that go at least 12 blocks per second by default when they're on a regular track. Right now they go 4, and it's so slow, and I just really wish we could have minecarts that just go so much faster. So let me know in the comments what you want to see minecarts do, and I will try to make a data pack for them. I think it'd be really cool to have a lot of the stuff that I mentioned as a data pack. Like I really think it'd be super easy to do the redstone ore one. Would probably be super easy to do. But yeah, I could do a lot of these things, so let me know in the comments what you want to see. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Calcium Capus Modem Partum. Take care. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and goodbye.